It's mailbag time here on Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Welcome in, everybody. This is one of my favorite segments we do here at Chat Sports, where we answer your questions as a part of our weekly live shows. But before we dive into that, guys, I want the comments section to look like how US Bank Stadium is going to look this Sunday with the Houston Texans rolling in. If you guys want the Vikings to move to 3-0, undefeated, give me a skull down below in the comments section right there. I want the comment section to look like this. Just a whole bunch of skulls flooded the chat. So if you guys could, give me a couple skulls actually down below in the comments. But first question in, Skull Nation, how you doing? Saying, should the Vikings trade for Marshon Lattimore? 110%. With the Saints starting off 2-0, I think this dream is a little less likely than it once was. But, the Saints are in cap space hell for the next 3 seasons. And moving off a guy like Lattimore, would definitely help them. And Lattimore, he's not the same, top 5 corner in the league that he once was, but he's still top 12. Like, he actually put out some of the best tape, in my opinion, out of any corner I've seen going up against Justin Jefferson. But, this year, he only played in 1 game. He was a scratch versus the Dallas Cowboys. And, injuries have been his biggest issue. I wouldn't give up a 3rd, 4th-round pick. The max I'm giving up right now would be a 5th-round pick for Marshon Lattimore. Just dive into, that 2026 draft capital you have. But, hey, if it's a 6th-round pick, 5th-round pick for Lattimore, just adding another corner back to that room, I'd be all in. But with how Byron Murphy and Stephon Gilmore have played throughout the first 2 weeks, I don't think the Vikings are really looking at any other corners to bring in. Like, if one of those two would have to miss a game here and there for whatever reason, I feel like they're more than comfortable with having Shaq Griffin, a Caleb Evans step in there instead of maybe wasting draft capital and also cap space on Lattimore. His cap hit this year is $14 million. Next year it's $31 million. So I'd be in on trading for him if it's for maybe a 6th or 7th round pick. But I don't think I'd give up a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th anymore. But for a 6th or 7th, I'd be all in. But Roger Bong, $10 super chat, shout out to you, saying we shocked the NFL this week. Roger, I hope so, man. Big time matchup with the Houston Texans. Very excited about it. But I think this would be a win for the Vikings, where I think right now inside that locker room, I think the vibe is like, man, we are a pretty good team. Like, I wonder how far we can take this type of thing, where it's like, yeah, we're a playoff team. I'm not sure if we're a Super Bowl contender just yet. If you go out and you handle the Texans like you've done throughout the first 2 weeks, I mean, I can make an argument the Vikings should be the favorite to come out the NFC. I promise you, if the Vikings go out there and handle the Houston Texans this week, I will be saying the Vikings should be the favorite in the NFC. As crazy as that sounds. But it's a new year every year in the NFL. We got a top 5 coaching staff. If Darnold can just play like a top 12-ish quarterback in the league, there is enough talent on this football team where they can make a serious deep run this year in the playoffs. As crazy as that sounds, I'm actually giving myself chills talking about playing for a Super Bowl potentially this year. But Roger, I appreciate you, man. Z Cool, another real one, coming in with the super chat saying, what do you think of the new power rankings? Yeah, we can actually show you guys them. 5 big-time publications dropped their power rankings this past week, and I feel like the Vikings were actually rated pretty fairly, except by NFL.com. NFL.com did not rate them fairly whatsoever, but, I definitely do think the Vikings, if they win this next week, they'll be ranked a lot higher across, the national media power rankings, but right now, my power rankings got them at 4, and I think that's completely fair. I went to Chiefs, Texans, Bills, Vikings, then went to the Chargers, Buccaneers, Lions, Saints. Then I still got 2 0-2 teams at 9 and 8. I think both the Ravens and the Bengals will end up, figuring it out. But, Zeke, cool. I appreciate you, man, for tuning in and sending a super chat. But, hey, Vikings win this week versus the Texans. It will be a whole lot of Vikings are ranked 5th, Vikings are ranked 3rd, 2nd, all that. So, hopefully we get a win. We get to see the new power rankings for next week. Was Zazy coming in saying #Vikings. When will Risner be back? So he's on R right now. So the earliest he can come back is week 5. Before the 49ers game this past week, I was saying, Dalton Risner, he for sure needs to play over a guy like Ed Ingram, who is really struggling versus the New York Giants. But Ed Ingram actually had a pretty good game against the Niners. Something I did not anticipate happening, as I thought a big reason why the Niners could beat the Vikings was a guy like Hargrave going against Ed Ingram and just ragdolling him like a guy like Dexter Lawrence did to him a week before. But I don't know when Risner will officially be back. I'm assuming week 5, but I just don't think he will end up playing this year. I think the Vikings are so big on continuity across the offensive line as a big reason also why I think the offensive line has been so successful. I think that is also another under-talked about point in the NFL is continuity on your offensive line seriously matters. The Vikings have relatively the 4 of the 5 starters the last like 3 or 4 years. I think that's a big reason why they've been so successful. So even if Risner gets back, I just don't think he'll end up playing. But you guys let me know. Game this Sunday. Who you got? Type V for the Vikings or give me a T for the Texans in this star-studded Week 3 matchup. But before we dive into more questions, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is Factor. If you guys head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50, you guys will get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code VikingsChat50 at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Now, Factor has over 35 different meals to choose from and more than 60 add-ons. So you guys will always have new flavors to explore. And if you guys want to crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust, Factor Meals is the way to go. Now, if you guys want to treat yourself also to some restaurant-quality meals, Factor has that as well, as they have fillets, shrimp, blackened salmon, and a whole lot more. So keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor Meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up needed. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 and use code VikingsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. It's code VikingsChat50 at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Aaron Jones' burner account tuning in, saying, are the Vikings Super Bowl contenders? I'm going to say, you guys are going to get pissed off at me. I'm going to say no as it stands right now. I am filming this video before the Houston Texans game. I am going to say no as it stands right now. Main reason why, I don't want to overreact to just a win versus the Niners. Because if the Vikings are Super Bowl contenders, would we be freaking out? No, we wouldn't. There's just another week. If the Vikings start stacking a lot more wins here, like you beat the Texans, I'll be saying the Vikings should be the favorite in the NFC. As Z Cool in the live chat saying, I'm unsubscribing. Yeah, I just don't think they're Super Bowl contenders just yet. It's only a couple weeks. Got to get a bigger sample size here, specifically on our quarterback, but I think we'll be good. But Aaron Jones, I appreciate you, man. Z Cool saying, how many sacks do we get against the Texans? Well, we got 5 in week 1. We got 6 in week 1, 5 in week 2. I'm going to go this week. I'll go a solid 4. I think the Vikings are going to get home 4 times. I think Van Ginkel's going to have 1, and I'm calling it right now. Jonathan Grenard, 3-sack game, revenge game, as they chose to pay Daniil Hunter over Jonathan Grenard. I think 58 is going to have a massive game versus the Texans this weekend. And Mac, what's going on, man? What is the weakness of the Texans defense? So really good secondary, really good linebacking core. I think their weakness is the run defense. I think you can run at Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, as Hunter's always been okay against the run, but he's never been great. And, that's just his game. He's more of a true pass rusher, but I would not be scared to run at number 99, or now he's wearing 55 with the Texans, but run at Will Anderson, run at Daniil Hunter, get downhill. Like, I would not be shocked that the Vikings have a very San Francisco 49ers-esque game plan where it's like, our quarterback's only going to throw the ball 20 times. We'll take our chances when needed, but also we're going to run the ball down your throat. And I think that's what the Vikings are going to plan on doing this weekend. Aaron Jones, whole lot of Ty Chandler, get C.J. Ham in there as the lead blocker, and we can really get downhill against this Texans defense. Purple and gold bars, would you want to be selfish and want Sam to be our backup for this championship era, or would you want him to get paid? Purple and gold bars. Hard-hitting questions here. Okay, great question. Would you want to be selfish and want Sam to be our backup for this championship era. Would you want him to get paid? So I guess hypothetically, I'll go with this. Like, let's just say the Vikes go 10-7. They win a playoff game. I think Darnold's starting next season. Like, if that's the situation, I hope he would be. Like, if you legitimately win 10 games and he has a great year, are we in any rush with JJ? Like, I think that's also something Vikings fans need to understand. Like, if Sam Darnold has a great year, it's not like the dude's 30, 31 years old. He's 27 hitting his prime, and he is going to get better each and every week and each and every year now. He has confidence, and I'll say this. If Darnold, for whatever reason, let's just say the Vikings have an unreal year. They're 12-5. They win the division. They get to the NFC Championship game. I'm paying Sam Darnold the Baker Mayfield contract. I'm giving him $30 million a year. And I love J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to work out. But we are in no rush to see him. Like, J.J. is going to have to go through the same learning curves that Sam Darnold's already gone through. Like, Darnold's been through the lows of the NFL. He's been scolded. He kind of has that calluses already built up. If he ends up having a great year, you pay him, and I'm not kidding when I say this. Sam Darnold could be your franchise quarterback for the next 3 or 4 years, and you just kind of have JJ waiting in the reins eventually, when he could take over. But that is my one gripe that I've had with Vikings fans is like, and I see it on Twitter all the time where it's like, what are the Vikings going to do if Sam Darnold makes the NFC Championship? He's going to be your effing starting quarterback next year. There's no conversation. Like, if they are that successful this season with number 14 under center, why would we go the JJ? It honestly drives me crazy. Like, I see it on Vikings Twitter all the time. Like, oh, the Vikings could sign and trade Darnold. If he just got us to the playoffs and won a playoff game or two, I hope he's the quarterback next year. And sure, we'll talk about that a lot more in the offseason. But it also would be, I say this, it would be a great problem to have. But purple and gold, appreciate you. Tom Lyles coming in, saying 100-yard rusher this weekend, number 33 or 32. Good question here, Tom. Aaron Jones was close week 1 to getting to 100 yards. Ty Chandler was close this past week to getting to it. If I had to pick one this weekend, I'm going to go Ty Chandler. Yeah, I'm going to go Ty Chandler. I think Ty Chandler's going to have a massive game. I actually do think Aaron Jones might be a little hobbled up. And we'll have to wait till the injury report to come out. But if I had to pick one between Jones and Ty, give me Ty Chandler. Last question coming in from the Gray Warden, saying, what do you think the chances are of the Vikings 27-20, 3 TDs, 2 field goals for the Vikes, 2 TDs, 2 field goals for the Texans? Definitely a chance. 5 scoring drives versus the Texans defense would be a huge win for the offense. But I think the Vikings, the more I talk myself into this, I think the Vikings are going to smack the Texans this weekend. I can't see the Texans getting to 20. Like, I can't. And you guys can call me crazy, call me a homer, but I predicted the Giants. I will say this. I'm on it with my prediction so far. I said the Giants will score 6 points in week 1. Check. Said the Niners will score 16 points last week. Check. I think the Texans, you know what? I said 24-16 in my original prediction. I think it's 24-13. I think this defense really cements itself as like the Vikings may have the best defense in the league. That's going to be the storyline coming out of this game. It's not going to be around Sam Darnold, even if he has a good game. I think it's going to be like, oh shit, Ty Chandler just ran for 100 yards, and the Vikings have one of the better defenses in the league. And if Darnold can just hit JJ a couple of times on a couple big plays, the Vikings are going to win a lot of games. But Gray Warden, I appreciate you. Let's close the show with this. If you guys want the Vikes to beat the Texans this weekend, hit that thumbs up icon, like today's video. If you guys want the Vikes to get a 3rd straight victory to start off this year. Now, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing. I'm posting about the Vikes all year long. Hit me up over there. @PatSeeps is the handle. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, go Vikes.